So he typed out that he would shoot me in the face if he saw me.
That's how we do it in the South.
What's going on, guys, and welcome to Rabbit's Used Cars. Right now, I'm loving life. But last week, freaking sucked. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to come off sounding like Casey and complaining. There's a lot of stress in the car business, and I love it. I love it. I love the hustle. I love having something that somebody else wants. I love all of that. I love the different cars and dealing with the different people and the psychology of it, the science of it. I love all of that. But sometimes you get dealt bad cards, and bad cards are just straight up dumbasses and bad customers. And no matter how good of a poker player you are, you can't control what comes out of that deck. You'll have those weeks where everything you touch turns to solid gold. And then you have those weeks you were better off you just stayed in bed. And last week was one of those weeks for me. And it's so frustrating because you'll be on a run and you'll be killing it. And then next thing you know, you get dealt a bad hand. And just to shed a little light, just a few of the bullshit things I had to deal with last week. And this is just in the sales side. This has nothing to do with this build and any of the guys here. This is just straight up dealing in sales. And I think this is a good one for a lot of you guys wanting to get into sales, that you hear these things and see these things, because it is. I mean, a lot of times we share a lot of our highlights. You always hear all about the home runs and I got another one sold, and I love it. I love it. And then you have those weeks that you're just the whole time. It's crazy. I have been doing internet sales with cars damn near since the internet started. I mean, you got to think. I've been selling cars online since 2001. Almost as long as Jeff has been alive. I mean, he was sucking his thumb still, which was probably last week, but he was sucking his thumb still. He was shitting in a pamper when I was selling cars online. I'm not saying I invented it, but I made that shit cool. And I like to think that I was one of the pioneers of this stuff. And I love it. It's a great platform to sell. It's a great way to get exposure. But it's a double-edged sword. And not everybody you deal with in person or on the internet are good people or great people. There's sometimes you deal with assholes, and sometimes you deal with just dumb people. And you get these dreamers and these tire kickers and these little keyboard warriors. And it always amazes me how cocky people get. I'll show him. No, you're not. No, you're not. And I've got a couple of these, but so last week I had a guy come in, and it happens a lot. They'll come and look at one car, and then they see something else we have here. Be like, man, I didn't know you had this. Or, I had, whatever. And it's great. I love it. I love walking around the building. Hell, I'll sell them all. So walk him over here, sell him this other vehicle. And he just fell in love with it. And he was telling about how, him and his wife had one. And this was an older guy. And, he's like, man, I love this car. I want it. How much do you want for this thing? Is it matching numbers? Yep. Is it really, really just like this? Man, he's checking out stuff. I pop the hood and show him the deck plate. And he's looking, he's like, oh my goodness. Just everything he wants. And he goes, I can totally do that price. He goes, I want that car. He goes, I'll have my money next week. Now, let me stop there to tell you how this business works. As a rule, and I did this to myself a little bit, this guy was an older guy. He came down with money to buy something. Now he's buying a more expensive item. I should have, and this is where I was wrong, I should have asked for a deposit. I should have said, all right, but tell you what, let's sign you up right quick. Let's get this deal on paper. Let's get a deposit on this thing. You can come back next week. We'll finish the deal. I should have done that. This is where my laziness started this week of shit. You know, it was about 4:30, which is dangerously close to quitting time for your old buddy Rabbit. And I was like, listen, bud, you want it? She's yours. Tell you what, I'll see you next week. Just give me a call. Love it. Boom. Deal done. The problem in this business is, and it's a saying that I've heard since when I started, they were saying this, buyers are liars. You can take about 40% of what you hear as truth in sales. And when I say that, you know, people get excited, and what you've got to do is when they get excited, you've got to lock them in. We got to get this down. We got to get a contract. We got to get something binding. And I'm not saying that's going to guarantee it or concrete the deal, but at least you have something for your time. At least I got 10% down where, you know, I got X amount of dollars in my pocket for dealing with this dumbass if he decided he didn't want it. But I didn't. I just, hell, that works, man. Just come pay me next week. And that's where I went wrong. That's where I got lazy. I should have done my job, my due diligence there. But, so, fast forward, we're moving on. This guy, I didn't take a deposit. We're rolling right on through the week. I have a car listed online. Nice little pickup truck. Sold. Wasn't online 2 days. I get a message from a guy asking me 40 million questions about this truck prior to this. Keep in mind, the man that bought the truck asked me, does it run and drive out good? Yes. I wouldn't be a bit scared to drive it anywhere. I said, and that's literally the only thing I said, if you want any more information, give me a call. Phone number. He called me up. He goes, man, I really like that truck. I said, it's a great little truck. So I wouldn't think twice, jump in and drive it anywhere. It's built right, yada, yada. He goes, will you take this for it? I said, no, I can't take that, but I'll tell you what I can do. And I told him, he goes, I can live with that. All right, let's do it. Deal's done. 4 or 5 questions. I love it. And he asked good questions. The same questions I ask when I buy. This guy, before this customer, was messaging me, never a phone call. Told him, if you want some more info, be sure to give me a call. Love to talk to you about it. Can I get a video? Can I get a picture on the bottom? Can I get this? And I sent those things to him. But can I, what do you think about this? Could you take this for it? Because I'd love to resell it one day, which is the first red flag. I hate anyone that comes to me saying, hey, can you take less money so I can sell it and make money off of it? It doesn't work like that. This isn't, Rabbit's school of teaching people how to sell used cars. No, this is Rabbit's used cars. I'm not here to get you in the car business. I'm here to sell you a car. That's the business I'm in. And this will lead into the next bullshit thing I had to deal with. But anyway, this other guy, like I said, got him on the phone, loves the truck, takes the truck. Perfect. Out the door. Marked sold. Why'd you sell that truck? I wanted it. You never told me you did. Well, you knew I was interested. I said, yeah, I had about 40 other ones the same way. This dickhead, and I say that because he is, literally threatened my life via message. So he typed out that he would shoot me in the face if he saw me, and how he wanted to kick my ass because I sold this truck that we never even agreed on a price. We never really got into numbers other than him saying he'd love to get it for a price that he could resell it. And this guy was just talking mad shit. Like, I'm just sitting there letting him type at this point. And, anybody else would block him, but I'm not a bitch, so I don't care. And I'll be honest with you, it kind of tickles me to watch stupidity at work. And he finally, talking all this bullshit. And I told him, I said, listen, bud, I'm not a hard guy to find. I said, tell you what, do me a favor. Google me. Google my name. You know where I'm at. I keep this ass on me just in case anybody wants a piece of it. Come get it. Have a good day. Man, you better be glad, I don't want to come all that way, or I would. At the end of the day, you didn't get your truck and you're just blowing hot air. You're not spending any money with me. But that's the bullshit you deal with in this business. You don't know this guy. I don't know this guy. Why? I didn't even know he was remotely serious about it. If he was that serious about buying it, don't you think we need to put this deal down? Let's talk about numbers. Maybe, God forbid, pick up the phone. Get me on the phone. Let's talk. Let's connect. No, they just want to run their mouth. That guy was never going to buy that truck. He just wants to talk trash. It's probably some kid somewhere. Moving on. Sold a car prior, a few weeks ago. And he calls me up because you got to think about it. When I sell a car, all the paperwork goes out to the buyer. To the buyer. I sell cars, they buy cars. They take their paperwork to their DMV, whatever, and they get them in their name and happily ever after. What you do with that after that, that's none of my business. And, I sell cars. Some people, keep them for a little while and sell them or whatever, and that's fine. It's whatever. If I sold it, I made what I thought it was worth off of it, and I hope you could sell it, make $1 million off of it. That's great. But you got to understand what I go through to do what I do. Finding these cars and all that's one thing, but the expense of it. I pay to sell cars in the state of South Carolina. I don't flip cars out of my backyard. I am a bonded car dealer. That's what I do. I have a facility. This is not, a little, working out of my house project. And this guy sold this car. And he had the audacity to call me up and say, could I redo the paperwork because he has it sold to someone else if I could just bill it out to this guy so he wouldn't have to pay sales tax on it in his state. And is it really any skin off my back? No. But then you start thinking about it. This is the part that aggravates me. And there's nothing wrong. I know I pick on the backyard guys all the time, call them bottom feeders. I do that to influence. I do that to light a fire under your ass. Step up to bat. All right, you sold a few. Now let's see how you can do it with a crowd. To move you up. I do that to light you up. Come after me. Come sell like I do. But guys like this, hey, can you do this? No, that's the expense of selling a car. You bought this car. You need to pay the taxes in your state on it. That's part of it because you're not a car dealer. You have to pay the taxes on this car. And I tried to explain that to him. And I said, I sold it to you, not your buddy or whoever you think you're going to flip it to. Well, goodness gracious, I can't afford to pay taxes on this thing. We should have thought about that before you bought the car. Oh, I won't make anything off of it. Well, there again, that's not my problem. I did, and I'm good. But the thing that bothers me about this, and the reason it burns me up, is literally as I got my renewal letter for my dealer's insurance just that week too. Let's say you're a chef and you cook delicious dishes and you open up a restaurant and you get a facility and you buy all your utensils and your cooking stuff and people love your food and you buy your stoves, your pots, your pans. everything. And then I come up to you and be like, hey, I love that dish you make. You mind giving me the recipe so I can make it at home? No, that's not how it works. That's why it aggravates me. Don't come at me because you're not going to make any money off this car if you pay taxes and do it the right way and expect me to cover your ass. And these are just a few examples of why the week. Oh yeah, but back to the first guy. Oh man, me and my wife rode around one just like and all that stuff. Never heard from him all week long. Shot him a text. Hey buddy, you ready to pick this? Just let me know when you want to pick this thing up. Oh, I found another car I like better. Not one phone call, not one text. That one was my problem. Live and you learn, boys. Just another day here at the car lot. We'll catch you next time at Rabbit's Used Cars.